Greetings and welcome to Miles More Motivation, the show that is designed to give you more happiness, fulfillment, joy, and obviously more motivation. In this episode, we're going to talk about how to find greater meaning. Let's say there is a situation in your life right now that you're going through and it's tough. You know, at the time of doing this video live, we're going through this coronavirus pandemic, which is challenging for the best of us, right? In this video, I want to share with you a way to find greater meaning from maybe past experiences that have caused you stress. I want to share with you 3 ways that if there's a difficult situation for you now, something in the past, I want to help you in this video with 3 really simple, easy to apply, common sense, but not necessarily common practice ways that you can find greater meaning in times of difficulty. Before I do, I want to kind of start by telling you a story. Those of you that know me personally will know this. Those of you that don't will not know that several years ago I had very, very severe eczema. In fact, you will notice now I don't have eczema, but you will see, probably be able to see there's some scarring on my arms. My eczema is something now that is under control. I sometimes have some challenges every now and again, but at one point, 7-8 years ago, my eczema was so bad. I used to wear bandages on my arms because I would wear shirts to the office. And if I was wearing a kind of a white shirt or a light blue shirt, my eczema at one point was so bad that I would physically bleed through the bandages onto the shirts and would have to change the shirts multiple times a day. I had it on my head. I used to wear baseball caps all the time. If you see any old photos of me from a few years ago, he was always wearing baseball caps. It's because my eczema was bad. Friends had asked me on nights out. I'd say no. I'd say I don't have the money, which was a lie. It was because my eczema was so bad, I just didn't want to be in public. I used to get dressed in the dark in the middle of the day, would avoid looking in the mirror because of how it would make me feel if I saw my face before I went out. Horrendous period, and it was a real struggle for me. However, one of the greatest things for me about my eczema is after having blood tests and allergy tests and all kinds of crazy tests, it made me realize that what my triggers were. And for me, most of my triggers were things such as, the wrong foods, things like high dairy and high wheat and things like that, which I'm admittedly still sometimes kind of guilty pleasured into. And I'm aware of the consequences of that. But several years ago, I used to eat all that stuff and I was really overweight and had bad skin. And the change for me happened when I was on a night out with friends and met a girl that I was talking to and was attracted to. And she kind of said, why are you scratching so much? And obviously that was a real turn off, right? And so for me, that day, that kind of experience made me realize that as a single man at the time, that the eczema, the scratching, the itching was really hindering my ability to find love. And actually finding love at that time in my life was one of the most important things to me. So I went, I need to figure this out. So if there's an issue in your life, something that is stressing you out, that causes you anxiety or just something that is inside of you that maybe you don't talk about, that bothers you, I think this video is really going to help you to kind of find greater meaning. Because as a result of that experience, not only did it cause me to make some big changes to my diet, which helped to eliminate many of the problems with my eczema, it got me in better shape than ever before. It gave me the confidence that I needed to be able to go out and communicate more effectively and do public speaking and speak on video like this now. I'd never have dreamed of doing this years ago and had bad eczema. And obviously that all led me up to, meeting Sati, and now we've got Sage. And it all started with making some pretty drastic changes with my skin. So 3 things for you to think about if you are in an area of your life where you need to find greater meaning in an area that is currently kind of causing you some stress, causing you some anxiety. Number 1, have what we call movie perspective. So if ever you've watched a great movie, the so-called hero's journey, the hero starts off kind of in a struggle or a battle and goes through this kind of transformational journey of ups and downs and eventually kind of wins the day, right? That's very much the stereotypical short version of the hero's journey. I want you to kind of think about your life with a movie perspective. I want you to kind of think that if right now you are in what you call a kind of a down or a struggle, then eventually with the right changes, with the right habits in place, there will be triumph. I think back over the past few years of, bad relationships and poor financial situations and breaking up with a girlfriend and then being homeless and sleeping on a floor in the back of my friend's gym. All of those things that seemed like struggle, like life was over. And then on the flip side of each of those struggles, there has been triumph. I guarantee when you look back on your life, for every negative experience, if you looked for the greater meaning, there has been some positive moral of the story. Bad breakup there, moral of the story. Choose more wisely. Bad health, moral of the story. Eat better foods. There's always a moral message. There's always a greater meaning if we look. And I think a great way to do that is to kind of look at your life as like a movie and recognize that in movies, it isn't all plain sailing. There's highs and lows, ups and downs, struggle and triumph. Next, you want to do what we call a life assessment scorecard. I often coach people who tell me, Miles, I'll be happy when I get here. I'll be happy when I've got that. I'll be happy when I'm making that much money. And what I often say to people is that they're failing to pay attention to the progress that they've made. You see, if you've read any spiritual text about I'll be happy when type phrases, when the end is death. So there is no end. Life is an ever evolving, ever changing, ever moving cycle. Your skin today will be different a year from tomorrow, will be different a year from now. You are gradually going to get older and eventually we're all going to die. The end is death. The end is not your business making £10,000 in a month. That's not the end. Because when you get there, you'll be like, right, what's next? People talk about, I just want to maintain. I'm sorry to tell you that it's very hard to maintain. You either go backwards or you go forwards. It's very difficult to maintain anything because it kind of like if you imagine trying to hold water in your hands, eventually it either evaporates or it goes through, right? So it's very difficult to maintain anything. So what you want to do is what we call a life assessment scorecard. And I actually have a sheet for this that if you want it, it's called a life indicator evaluation. I can send you that. Drop me a message and say, hey Miles, can you send me that? I'll send you that. And what it does is it scores you on a scale of 1 to 10 in 7 key areas: health, relationship, finances, business, etc. And you kind of rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. And the great thing about it is that when you know where you are on a numerical scale, let's say your health is a 4, then rather than getting overwhelmed about that and thinking, well, I'm not where I want to be yet, the next thing that you want to do, which is my third point, is what I call a 1-point habit stack. 1-point habit stack effectively means when I coach my clients on this scorecard, rather than going, okay, you're a 4 and your health is a 4, what have we got to do to get you to a 10? Which is like saying to a person who's never run more than 2 miles, how do we get you running a marathon next week? Which is possible, but stupid if you ask me. Instead, we should focus on getting that person from running 2 miles to 3 miles next week. 3 to 4, 4 to 5. Chinese proverb, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step, right? So the 1-point habit stack effectively means rather than thinking, I'll be happy when, going back to the financial reference in business of I'll be happy when I'm making £10,000, instead go, how much are you making now? 2,000. Okay, our goal is 3,000. And the question next is, what is the 1-point habit stack? If you're rating your business as a 4 out of 10, to get from 2,000 to 3,000, what is one action that you could take this week to move you towards from £2,000 to £3,000 in a month, or to improve in any area. My relationship with my husband is a 5. Okay, what would be one thing that you could do to move it to a 6? Well, I could tell him every week. I could tell him more often that I'm appreciative of him. I could buy him a nice gift every month. I could cook him a nice meal the way that I used. We could go on a date. We could schedule date night again. Whatever it is, it doesn't have to be huge, but I'm here to tell you, if you want to find greater meaning, then look at establish where you are now and what you would need to do to just move 1 point better. It will reduce the overwhelm of thinking, oh my God, I'm not where I want to be yet. All right. So anyway, that's it. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, hit like, hit share, and if you want to book in for a coaching call, if you feel that this has been valuable, but you'd like to be coached on this, then there should be a link somewhere underneath the video where you can book in and get coached by me for free. Call is worth £300. There should be a link somewhere under the video to book that call. That's it for now. Miles of Motivation, over and out.